Good day to everyone. I'm Vala, and this is your essential news of the day, weird history and odd news. Today, we're going to New Zealand for a lighthearted look at colonial news from around 1870. By the time New Zealand was deemed a great place to colonize, the Maori had been living there for 1,000 years. In the late 1700s, the islands attracted the attention of countries like Great Britain, seeking to expand their empire. Colonial New Zealand covers the years 1769 to 1914. Back then, New Zealand, Tasmania, and Australia were like the Wild West in the United States. Gold rushes attracted thousands of immigrants, and people came from all over the world for adventure and a chance to start a new life. Railroads were built. Ranching and farming and the shipping industry became the foundations for the colonists' lives. Naturally, with colonists come newspapers. The early newspapers are mostly political goings-on in New Zealand and around the world, but there are a few nuggets of humor in the advertisements and, of course, the court proceedings. From the Christchurch newspaper called The Press in July 1861. Baths, baths, baths. Hot air baths, hot vapor baths, hot sulfur baths, and medicated vapor baths. Captain G.H. Wilson, having taken the adjoining cottage, is prepared to administer the above baths with or without galvanism. Mrs. Wilson will superintend the ladies' baths. What is galvanism, you ask? It was an alternative healthcare treatment popular in the mid to late 1800s that involved using water and electrical currents to jolt the client into better health and a brain that was more alert. Electroshock therapy in a bathtub. Did a person need formal medical training to deliver this therapy? Nope. The way the ad is worded makes me wonder about a couple things. One, giving unregulated, supposedly therapeutic baths to people with or without electric shocks. And two, was Mrs. Wilson actually giving the treatments to their female clients in private? Or was Captain Wilson administering the therapy and Mrs. Wilson just watched? I'd like to know. Interestingly, I was unable to find any testimonials for Captain Wilson's venture into medicinal baths, nor were there any further advertisements. In the courts, we have examples of how the citizenry was kept in line. Fines for minor transgressions were usually about 10 shillings, just annoying enough that the guilty parties would think twice before they repeated the offense. At the time, 10 shillings was equal to about $6 in US currency. New Zealand had some pretty sticky bylaws. Keep your chimneys clean. Make sure your businesses have good lighting at night. Keep your harnesses in good repair. And be careful where you park your horses, or you'll be fined 10 shillings. And your name will be in the court news, which everyone reads. There was a reason for these steep fines. Infrastructure. To pay for railway, road and bridge building, schools, hospitals, and all the other necessities of frontier towns, including sewers. This was an era when the need for city sanitation was just being recognized. Diseases like typhoid were rampant, and that is why the number of undertakers was astronomical. Moving ahead to 1876, under funeral notices, one entrepreneur advertises, H. Scrimshaw, having purchased a first-class hearse with plumes, etc., and a coach to carry mourners and every other requisite, is now enabled to conduct funerals. all caps, and an exclamation mark. This is important news. He further informs us, in town or country in the most approved manner and at less cost than any other house in Christchurch. Note the address, H. Scrimshaw, undertaker, next to A1 Hotel, Colombo Street, Christchurch. Mr. Scrimshaw was one of 52 undertakers in Christchurch in 1876, and a hearse with all the trimmings would definitely boost his business. After all, the Victorian mourning industry was very, very profitable, and the hotel next door was very convenient for relatives of the deceased. Mr. Scrimshaw had actually been at that location for some time. Earlier ads show him to be a cabinet maker, upholsterer, and undertaker. This combination of skills went hand in hand back then in the United States and Commonwealth countries. Mr. Scrimshaw's location was important for another reason. There were 5 pawn shops on that street. Very convenient for clients needing to raise funds toward the cost of a funeral. My in-depth look at Christchurch, New Zealand's history of undertakers, Victorian mourning customs, burials, embalming, and cremation is in the video called The Undertaker Wars. Death was a very competitive business. One of Auckland's newspapers in the 1870s, The Star, was started by a Presbyterian minister, the Reverend George McCullough Reid. He was anti-liquor, and his mission was to persuade the wayward colonists to be just like him. Pushing temperance in a town full of pubs and bars was a losing game. The Reverend Reid also frowned on the evil weed, tobacco. But the need for revenue from advertisers to support his business upended his vision of glory. To publish the paper, nearly all 4 pages were filled with ads for local businesses and notices of legal proceedings. There was no local news but for the medicinal testimonials masquerading as letters to the editor. On the March 24, 1870 issue, the front page advertises no less than 7 wine and liquor merchants with their prices, and 8 hotels offering pubs or bars, including one that advertised another devilish habit, billiards. One establishment, S. Brown and Company, catered to families too. Why not buy your groceries at the same time you replenish your liquor supply? What a novel idea in 1870. Nourish your family and put yourself in your wife's good graces with excellent low-priced, high-quality alcoholic beverages and excellent low-priced, high-quality groceries. Win-win. The citizens of Auckland were not fans of the Reverend Reid or his temperance campaign. Within months, he was forced to sell his ownership shares to his financial backer, who then turned the newspaper into a thriving enterprise by scrapping the notion that the whole town needed to be reformed. Then there are the testimonials, the letters to the editor. Here's one supposedly from C.P. Hackett, Esquire, police magistrate in Melbourne, Australia, with the letter sent from the police office in Melbourne. The subtitle is "A Widely Known Bad Case Cured in About a Fortnight." And we learn that the leading medical men were unable to cure the police magistrate's ailment, whatever that was. Oddly, the name of the ailment is missing, along with the name of the cure. In checking the Melbourne court files, there was indeed a Charles P. Hackett who acted as police magistrate. Did he have rheumatism or some other malady? We'll never know. Nor will we know what tonic cured it. Alas, the cure for Mr. Hackett's alleged ailment is lost for eternity due to the magistrate's oversight. Our final bit of light-hearted press for the day comes from the Daily Southern Cross in Auckland with this ad. Notice, A red and white cow, branded M, has been on my farm for 13 months. If not claimed within 14 days of this date, will be sold to pay expenses. E. Malcolm, Cambridge, August 16, 1870. It appears that Mr. Malcolm wanted to clear his conscience for keeping someone else's cow for over a year before putting his entire farm, including livestock, up for auction. He was moving. I hope you've enjoyed this adventure into the world of old newspapers and that it gave you a smile or two. Please leave me a comment, like, and subscribe for a daily glimpse into the weird history and odd news of the last 2 centuries. Thank you.